voted 0.5, and it's just the word in caps lock, cinnamon, question, it's like, okay.
My favorite always is, one of the top 5 beers I've ever had. 3. And you're like, wow. So the ones above the top 5 are stellar then, right?
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to All Beer Inside. Today we are in Whitby, Ontario. Joining me is Ed from Paddles Brewing Company.
How's it going?
That's good. Thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule to speak with us about your brewery today. I'm glad that we got to travel from Montreal to visit you guys to do this. You brought me out some delicious looking beers and a very fancy looking flight for me to try. So what's beer number 1 I'm going to be trying?
Beer number 1 is going to be Home Sweet Home, our honey vanilla wheat. It's the most popular beer we do. We have it in local LCBOs and beer stores around Whitby. We've been doing this one since day one. It's like one of the first recipes that we've ever done. And it's changed a little bit over the years, but mostly it's the same.
Awesome. What's the alcohol on this roughly?
5% alcohol.
Okay. As we do.
Yes, definitely 5% alcohol.
Awesome. A toast.
Cheers, man.
Cheers. Very smooth. The honey's not like overpowering in any way. It's a very, very summer beer for me.
I find it just a hint of honey, a hint of vanilla. As soon as you say honey, everybody's like, "Oh, it's gonna be sweet," and it's like, it's not sweet. It's balanced, right?
It's a solid beer for sure.
We've been doing it since day one, and whenever it's out of the fridge, people are, "When's it coming back? When's it coming back?" And like, okay, keep it coming. And we were not planning on doing any flagship beers at the beginning.
No, that's awesome.
And here we are by demand.
Speaking of here you are, what's your beer story and what's the beer story of Paddles Brewing Company?
My beer story is I was a diesel mechanic for like 18 years, and 2008 hit. Everything went to hell real quickly, and I worked on car carriers. Nobody's buying cars, so no cars were moving, and I started homebrewing. I met my other partners at the local homebrew club, Durham Homebrewers. And, one of them was a TD bank auditor and decided, hey, look, I got this business plan. What do you think? And a bunch of us jumped on board right away. Yeah, we just opened as small as we possibly can in 2013. I think we were brewery number 98 in Ontario at that point. I think there's well over 350 now.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of boomed. We're one of the only breweries in Durham here at the time, and now there's like 14 breweries in Durham, so it's really shown that craft beer is here to stay.
It's awesome to see you guys are obviously doing well, huge lineup of beers, so it's fantastic. Personally, having been here back in June to visit family again, it was like, oh yes, a new brewery that I've never been to before, and all these neat names which we'll get to, so it's awesome that you guys have stayed solid, kept open. It's always been at this location, or?
We had a location for the first year. It was just around the corner. It was the 900 square feet. This place is over 5,000 square feet, which makes a huge difference when you're trying to produce beer. We're not standing on top of each other.
Yeah, that's awesome. So now, being one of the first kind of like 100, obviously, craft breweries in Ontario, what were kind of like roadblocks or difficulties you guys ran into trying to create the Paddles brand and getting where you are kind of now?
When we opened up, there was no like peer-to-peer help. Actually, Amsterdam Brewing Company helped us a lot when we first opened. One of the partners knew Jamie Mystery, which is now he owns Common Good Brewing Company, and he used to provide us with all our live yeast. Right at the beginning, it's like, here, as much as you want, just bring a container, right? Which is at that point I thought Amsterdam was like a big guy.
Yeah.
And why would they be helping us? Like, what's the catch? And there was no catch. They just honestly wanted a brewery to succeed. Right, and now we've helped a lot of breweries over the years with questions. Mike, one of the other owners, started the Nano Brewers of Canada, which is also an online where you can help each other out. So it's people asking questions where sourcing stuff, or, hey, I'm having this problem with my brewery. Is there anybody else that's dealt with this? And somebody's always running into the same problem with you. So when we started, it was that we didn't have that support, and we kind of just muddled our way through it to today. Here we are, right?
I am finding a majority. I'm sure there's some outliers, obviously, but I am finding a majority of craft breweries, Quebec, Ontario, are unfortunately we've only been able to get to Quebec and Ontario through the pandemic, but you guys are always willing to help each other out, more or less. It's like such a kind of loving community, and even out front on your sign, it's like, do not bring your hate to our brewery. And that's kind of super important, is that you guys want to like bring in diversity into your brewery, and like, come on ladies, come on gentlemen, we don't care, who you love, come and show your love of beer and we'll show you love back. So.
Right. I don't know why anybody would care what anybody else thinks, or just enjoy yourself, have a good time. And we're trying to be the beginning of people's good times here at Five Paddles. People come in on a Friday, you had a crappy day, like whole week at work, come in here. This is the beginning of your weekend, right? And you can see it in the smiles of people's faces when they come in. They're just happy to be here. We just keep that ball rolling, right?
That's
trying to be a safer space as much as you can. I don't think any place is truly a safe space, but you can always improve and work towards that. So we've been trying to do that especially after the last year or so. It's like really working hard on that one.
How quick did you guys adapt to like home deliveries? Was it just because I guess the Ontario government's just like, just do home deliveries?
Yeah, we were lucky. We're not that big of a brewery to change our whole business model. We were not in a lot of kegs in bars at all anyway. So for us, it was kind of one day not doing deliveries. The next day, it's like, load up your car. You're going to do deliveries today. So.
That's awesome. I'm so, as a Quebecer, I'm so jealous of Ontario because you guys can deliver beer to, bring beer to happiness when people are obviously not their happiest right now during the pandemic.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, happiness, woohoo! So
it's kind of recession proof. It's like, I'm sad. Let me have a drink. I'm happy. Ooh, let me have a drink. Right? Like, kind of works all over the place.
Yeah. I went to the gym. I'll have a drink.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll have a drink. That's a great. So Five Paddles, it's a pretty original name. How'd you guys come up with that?
There was 5 owners when we first opened. And at that time, nobody was officially a brewer or a front house, or we kind of switched jobs the whole time. So it's like I'd get a week of brewing, then I'd have, 4 weeks of 1 week of the front room, 1 week of delivering kegs, 1 week of just cleaning tanks. That was at the very beginning. It's changed quite a bit since then. Mike is doing most of the brewing here now. I'm kind of like a help out delivery guy, and Ian does most of the paperwork, which is like a full-time job now. Yeah. And nobody says, let's start a brewery. I totally want to get into paperwork.
Yeah, as somebody who deals with, data and virtual faxes all day long, it's just like, it's virtual paperwork.
But... Quit threatening to change jobs with me. No, you have to do that.
You stay where you are.
Yeah, exactly.
What I kind of really like about your brewery, obviously all breweries now, but your brewery, you're kind of like geek chic focused when it comes to your naming convention. There was Lord Thunder. I still have a can at home.
Yeah.
Juice Campbell, which as a Bruce Campbell mark, as I call myself, it's like, it's great that you have, the chainsaw with the paddle. And what names and labels, how did you guys come up with that kind of stuff?
Little Juice Campbell, it was going to be either Juice Campbell or Juice Willis. And so it would have been a diehard beer instead of the Juice Campbell. I'm happy that we went with Juice Campbell because I'm a huge Bruce Campbell fan.
Yeah.
And the beer, I'm a fan of the beer as well. So yeah, it's when you're just sitting around a brewery all day long thinking of beer flavors. People always ask, how do you come up with flavors? Just constantly talking all day long. You're like, a name pops out, we write it on the board in the back. It's like, that sounds like a great name. We'll fit it into a beer. And some of them fit better than others, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have the entire Skull Pucker line that I saw. There's the original sour IPA. There's your jalapeno lime. So, it's kind of, you're saying like you don't really have a flagship, and you're constantly rotating, which is great because it's always new and creative things that people are coming out with. But I'm sure, like you said, the honey IPA, it's just like it's constantly off shelves.
Everybody's always asking for it. So, and then we've put that one in the LCBO and beer store in Durham, and it's just selling itself. So we can always good with what, like how much is going to sell with that one. I'll keep it coming. It's a nice, easy one to brew. So Mike really likes enjoying brewing that one instead of the really hoppy ones. They get messy.
Awesome. What's beer number 2 I'm trying here?
Beer number 2 should be In Your Face. I think these ones might be mixed though, but maybe not.
So tell us about In Your Face.
Aaron Broadfoot from Little Beast Brewing Company used to work with us here at the brewery.
Future interview.
Yeah. She's a great person, so easy interview. She did it here, and the beer was she wanted to put Nelson Sauvin and Sriracha Ace in it, which are two hops that I seriously have a dislike for. And, so she brewed this beer, and it's kind of like, in your face, it tastes good. And it really does taste amazing, right? So that's how that name come out. So there's a little bit of rivalry always going on in a brewery too. We have had multiple contests where it's like everybody brew a beer, and then whoever gets rated highest on Untappd gets a free dinner on the brewery or something like that, right? Like,
Love it.
So there's always that push to do better.
Awesome. So we had to try it, but a toast. Cheers.
Cheers.
This is another light. It's not overpowering anyway. It's so very well balanced. It's quite the tasty beer.
I try to make everything about easy to drink.
Yeah.
Right. Especially when it's this hot weather, you don't want to be punishing yourself, choking something down. It's like everything's easy to drink. Hot weather, you just drink more.
Yeah. No, I think when I was here back in June, I had your lager. I'm like, oh, it's so clean. And then I bought the line. So I only have the Lord Thunder left. I bought 6 cans.
Yeah.
I had your Juice Campbell. I can't remember the other names. I'm sure I had a Skull Pucker. But the Juice Campbell was like, that's the type of beer I like right now. But my beer, it's coming up. Pumpkin beers are coming out. So it's like, yep, those are all I'm going to be drinking on our terraces in Quebec, as we call them, or patios here. Yeah. That's what's coming up for September. So it's I'm looking forward to the usual pumpkin beers here, and you guys have Attack of the Pumpkin beer, which is funny.
We do 5 beers every year. Don't rush the pumpkin beers out.
Yeah.
If not, they'll be out by September 1st.
Yes.
Right. One year we did pumpkin spice latte, and it kind of looked like a Starbucks label on it. And we're like, oh, we're gonna release it the same day that they released their pumpkin spice latte, and then it was like, it's September 1st. Yeah. They released it. Oh, crap. I don't want to release it September 1st.
So one thing I like to ask is, as an Ontario brewery, if you had the options to get into other provinces, would you?
I haven't really looked into it much. Right now, we don't really have the volume to be able to really push that more. But, down the road, we're going to have to move somewhere. Yeah. Other provinces, from what I've just heard, not that easy. So it'll take some paperwork to get it, and Ian's our paperwork guy, so we'll just put him on that. I'm sure he'll love looking at all those rules.
Yeah, right? The law is weird. You need like a warehouse in the province you want to go. It's so backwards where we live, and I'll travel to Vermont. Well, I'll be traveling to Vermont again when it's open, but it's just a beer from Texas, a beer from California, and it's literally 2 hours away from Montreal. Why can't I get a 5 Paddles, get Little Beasts, get Amsterdam in Quebec? No, the only thing I get is Steam Whistle and Bose.
And when I'm in Vermont, I'm always shocked. It's like, look at all these Ontario beers here that I can't get in the LCBO in Ontario, yet if I go to Vermont, there they are.
Yeah, I know.
And in Boston. What? Look at Bellwoods is in Boston.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. It's so frustrating as a Canadian craft beer drinker who loves supporting local Canadian craft across the board. I have to... Montreal's to Hawkesbury, which isn't bad, but you guys only have like 1 or 2 cans in the LCBOs all the way out there. Yeah. So it's very frustrating and
we don't even have them. We're only local.
Yeah.
So only in Durham here we have them, right? So even if you just hop the border into Ottawa, it's like, nope. No. Still can't get it.
So frustrating. So you mentioned you started home brewing around 2008 when the recession hit.
Yeah.
I was working at a financial company then, so I know. But... so what was the first homebrew beer that you brewed? Like, good, bad, what was that first homebrew beer?
First homebrew beer that I brewed was cream ale. And I didn't realize about top or bottom fermenting yeast, and I thought it was horribly infected. And I dumped it out without even trying it, which is a huge no for homebrewing. And I went and bought another brew kit from... I want to say it's a Cooper's kit. Okay. It was like their sparkling ale. Mm-hmm. Brewed that one. Again, I go, oh, it's infected. Not knowing how yeast actually works. And I was like, I'm going to try it first. Took a sip. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And then kind of proceeded to drink the whole thing. So, that was my start into it. Dumping perfectly good beer.
So let's say you get that macro drinker, the BMC drinker, as Drew from Kanawaki Brewing coined BMC drinker. You get one of those folks come in, 50's my brand, X. Yeah. What kind of gateway beer do you suggest for those?
We always have a lager in the fridge, so I have a easy drinking, clean lager, and the honey vanilla wheat beer that we just had. That one there is easy drinking. Like I said, just a hint of honey, hint of vanilla, nothing too powerful. So it's not there's a flavor to it, but it's not overpowering. We do a lot of big flavored beers too. We try to always have we have quite a couple IPAs, a couple stouts, a couple sours, a couple easy drinkers. We even have a rattler, to try to, no matter who comes in here, we have something for you to drink.
Have you guys won any, or have you participated in the Canadian Brewing Awards, or you're just like, we don't need that?
We have in our early years.
Okay.
We for a number of years we did it, and we've just recently, in the last 3 or 4 years, has just kind of moved away from it. You get instant feedback from Untappd, whether good or bad. You get instant feedback, and I find that a better gauge for what we're looking for.
Our first ever interview, Troy from Nabogas, he said somebody came in, had a wheat beer. He's like, I voted 0.5, and the response is like, I hate wheat beer. And then as a consumer who likes all craft beer, I'm like, I'm not going to be that judgmental. If I don't feel like a sour that day, I'm just not going to have a sour.
What would be an amazing podcast is just reading all the terrible reviews. We have such great ones that make me laugh.
So there is an Instagram. It's called Untappd WTF.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a podcast. I know I've heard other podcasts talk about it, which is hilarious. It's like voted 0.5, and it's just the word in caps lock, cinnamon, question, It's like, okay.
My favorite always is, one of the top 5 beers I've ever had. 3. And you're like, wow. So the ones above the top 5 are stellar then, right?
Yeah. As somebody who's had some 5-rated beers, it's like, there's the reason these are my top 5 beers.
Right.
I'm sure you're just Campbell because it was just, I don't know if it was fresh from the can and I still had it or whatever, but it was like, I'm like, this is at least a 4. I'm pretty sure I gave it a 4.25, but I'm not like, 3.75, best beer I ever had. To me,
best beer you ever had, and you give it a 3, you're like...
no, it's a 5. It's, I know...
My all-time favorite one is, this stout is too stouty. And I'm like, and it was a 3, right? And it's like, so I nailed it or didn't nail this? I'm confused here.
My brain hurts. I don't get it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. So you mentioned Erin from Little Beasts. Have you collabed on a beer with her or anybody else?
Not yet, anyways.
Okay, no collabs done.
We haven't done any collabs with anybody in quite a while.
Okay.
Especially during COVID.
Yes.
Right? So not even asking anybody.
But so a little less pandemic, let's say.
Yeah.
What are kind of some dream collabs that you'd love to do? Ontario, Quebec, out west, Maritimes, even in the States, if you can. If there's those 3-5 dream breweries you'd love to collab with. Who would those guys be?
If you ask any one of us, those are going to be totally different, right? For me, I would love to collab with Stone Brewing Company in California, because when I was down there, one of the biggest breweries that I've ever been to that was still craft. You go in there and it is a giant facility, like a Molson facility, and then you have all their beers and you're like, how come you guys can do it? Yeah. Kind of deal, right? They would be my number one. Locally, I don't know who we'd ask. We've done quite a few collaborations over the years. I'd like to do another collaboration with a guy named Rory Taylor. He's from Ottawa. He is a local artist, and his voice is killer, right? I'd like to do more music collaborations, if anything, right? We've done a collaboration with a local motorcycle riding group, which I ride, called Harley-Davidson Riders of Canada, and they raise money for sick kids every year. So that one's an easy one to do a collab. You know, if you're going to attach something more than just hey, look at me. Yeah. To the beer, right? I think last year we did 1 or 2 beers with them, and every time we do it, it's over $1,000 to
That's awesome.
Sick Kids Canada, right? Which is easy one to get behind.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be more depending on what the causes are for collaborations than just hey, I want to do a collaboration with you. right? Everybody's busy right now too, just trying to keep everything going, right?
So I have to add this caveat, obviously, now when there's a little less pandemic, much easier. You don't have to wear a mask for a flight across the world, wherever you want to go, and you have the time. A beercation you'd love to go on that you've never been on.
Oh, that's hard because all the ones that I've been on, I want to go back. But yeah, I would like one of our other owners here, Ian, has been to Belgium, and he just tooted around drinking beers all over Belgium, and he still talks about it to this day. That was when we first opened, so it's been like 8 years, and he still talks about it. So it's like at some point I have to get out there and do it, right? I did the California beercation down, tooted around all the breweries down there, and loved it. Yeah. So I can see beercations all over the world, no problem.
I know. I never say one of my future beercations is Vermont again, but yes, Vermont.
It always is.
Yeah.
We go about yearly to Vermont. But also, like, for vacations, it's like the last vacation I went to Roatan, and it was one of those, oh, they have a brewery. I messaged the guy, and not knowing him at all, messaged him, hey, I own a brewery in Canada. I'd love to come down. I'd love to check out your brewery. And there was a day that rained all day. No. And he goes, hey, it's going to rain all day. You want to come in and help me brew? And I'm like, yes. Yeah, totally want to come and help you brew. Spent the whole day brewing on my vacation, right? And
twist that arm a little hard.
Yeah. And it's just like, no matter where you go, you can find a brewery now. So even when I plan vacation, it's like, this is not a brewing vacation. I end up brewing, right? And I had the greatest time. I keep in touch with the owner constantly down there, right? And super nice guy, super welcoming, where we have like, some mice that get into the brewery and you have to get rid of the mice. He has like monkeys and giant snakes, which, workplace hazards are a little different down there, but overall it's still making beer.
Let's just empty and there's a spider eating me.
Yeah, exactly.
So, awesome. What's the third beer I'm having today?
The last one is Skull Pucker, which is the sour.
Yeah. This is the classic sour IPA?
Yes.
Awesome.
It's a...
Toast.
It's a dry hopped kettle sour. So.
Sour's not overpowering. It's like closer to a tart than sour, but also like super crushable, very like just drink a bunch of these, not get overpowered with like the sour candy flavor type thing.
We try not to, just below clenching your jaw. I don't want to clench your jaw.
Fantastic beers all around. Like I said, first time I ever came here, I became a big fan. Surprisingly, I only ever heard you guys through an influencer we interviewed, Oshawa Beer Guy. I only heard about you guys through him, and I was like, whoa, how did I never hear about these guys? Especially being around since 2013. It's like, what?
It's like, the $0 marketing budget that we have going.
Oh,
it's working perfectly.
Okay.
Right?
Well, I mean, especially now with influencers, most influencers that we've spoken with in the craft beer world are pretty awesome dudes and ladies. So we can't, complain. Obviously, there's going to be the guys who look like me who say women don't belong in beer, and they're completely wrong about that. But it's meeting all these people, speaking with, brewers like yourselves, brewers owners like yourselves, other brewers, influencers, just everybody in this industry, to us, has been awesome. So
it's pretty easy to be friendly when you're having a couple of beers and just chatting. You know what I mean? Like it's not work anymore.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, what is it? If you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's great. So somebody comes in here, tries a bunch of your beers, any kind of either walking or bike ride, maybe if they have a designated driver, obviously. Any friends in the area that you suggest hit these guys?
We have a couple like really close ones, more of a bicycle ride than a walk, but Little Beast Brewing Company, Town Brewing Company, we got Brock Street Brewing Company. A little farther out, we have All or Nothing Brewing Company, and then you're into definitely drives after that one. But within a 10-minute circle of here, you can hit like 4 different breweries.
Oh, by bicycle. That's pretty awesome. Have you guys looked into maybe doing, I know the interview just before this one, they were L'Alchimiste in the Lanaudière. So it's almost like the Eastern Townships of Quebec, and they created l'Anneau de Bière. And it's a route that you could take a bicycle and all the breweries. Have you guys maybe considered getting all together and setting
Ontario
up a
Tourism has beer routes that they do and restaurant routes, and they always put out a map every year. And so usually we'll get a bunch of the maps and we can hand those out. But also like locally, there's Lux Lemos, which does beer tours. You tell them how many breweries you want to go. They pick you up in a limo and they drive you around all the breweries.
Okay, yeah.
Even better than bicycling in between breweries.
Yes. Air conditioned, I mean, today's a hot day, so yeah, when we're doing this interview, but yeah, bicycling around and knowing me, I had to buy like 6 cans per place, so my backpack would be even heavier each drive, and just chucking them in the back of a limo, that'd be great. So awesome. This interview's been fantastic. I honestly have no other questions. Super nice meeting you today. Really appreciate this. What's next for Five Paddles?
Survive this pandemic. We're almost there.
Yep.
Right? Get vaccinated. We just keep moving forward, right? We've been moving forward for over 8 years now, and it's just like one step at a time, right? We're always doing creative new beers. It's like I like seeing new stuff come out. People talk about it, and people come into the brewery, and just having people now you see people coming into the brewery that haven't been here in like a year. It's like, I know where you live now because I've been delivering to your house every week for 2 years. So, right? Yeah, I don't judge.
Awesome. Do you see the deliveries going away? Or
the deliveries are coming down, but the front of house is going straight up. So,
okay, yeah.
Right? Like, it's kind of balanced, right? And I think a lot of people nowadays are I just want to go out to get out of the house even if it's just to go pick up something and come straight home. Because we do online pickups where you can order a beer. Especially with us, our beers turn over very quickly. If you want a beer, order it right away. It's held for you until you can come pick it up, right?
So jealous as a Quebecer that you guys get that. We have the convenience of what are called dépanneurs, so convenience stores, which we have like beer stores. Certain ones actually do deliver. So early pandemic, I'm like, ooh, this beer. So I get to like grab a bunch of local beers. And then they're like, oh, your delivery window is between 4 and 8. And I'm like, oh, perfect. By the time I'm finished work, I can drink a beer.
Yeah, exactly.
It's, but yeah, the full on, it's a good thing I don't live in Ontario because I'd probably be bankrupt from beer delivery. So.
Well, you got that sweet can money.
Oh, that's true.
There you go.
Yeah, that 10 cents a can.
I'm ready to retire.
Yeah. You do find cans, because obviously there's a huge bottling line behind us. So you obviously shifted from bottles to cans. Do you find the cans go a lot easier than the bottles?
I find the cans overall just a better product package, right? LCBO's kind of pushed us towards that one. We used to hand label every single bottle in here. So when we went to the canning line and you just see them go through the canning line, you're like, oh yeah, I really like canning. Canning is amazing, right? Like, so it's a very easy choice, right?
Yes. Awesome. That's fantastic. Okay, so like I said, I really appreciate it today. Let the audience know where they can find you.
We're at 1390 Hopkins, Unit 3, right across from the soft mock that people are from Whitby. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I don't use Twitter, but yeah, I'm pretty sure we're on that. It's all at 5Paddles Brewing Company.ca.
Awesome. So that's all going to be in the show notes. So definitely, if you're in the Durham region, come and check these guys out. Fantastic lineup. Nice little patio outside if you're here during the summer, fall. Hopefully they let you winterize it as well to keep the business going during, unfortunately, this current wave. But as a man who believes in science, I know we'll get out of this like we have before in all other pandemics. So for us, allbeerinside.com is a website, at allbeerinside on all social media. And as I say at the end of all episodes, drink craft, not crap.